launch stuff. We got a new little thing we're going to be doing for the next 6 shows. And it begins with Thunder's Dash. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually go ahead and share my screen. And again, I'm just going to throw this out here. This is only the second time I've done PowerPoint, so mind it. It may not look great, but I tried. And I want to make it clean because we're going to be doing this for 6 weeks.
Yeah, unlimited time too, because we didn't know until today that we were going to run with this. So
yeah, I didn't start doing it until like about two hours before the show. So here we go. Okay, here's the cover page. Nintendo launch retrospective.
I like it.
This is the introduction, guys. This is the agenda. So we're going to go over the introduction, the primary goals, the timeline, the launch games. Here we are. Welcome to our Nintendo Switch 2 launch retrospective. So over the next 6 weeks, we are diving deep into the launch lineups of Nintendo's past consoles and handhelds, all leading up to the big reveal of the Switch 2 launch games on April 2nd. Join us as we stroll down memory lane, analyze the hits and misses, and let me tell you, after building out this PowerPoint, I was like, what were they thinking launching these games? So it'll be interesting. And of course, we're going to speculate about the future, and that will be in week 6, which I'll show you guys on the timeline. Primary goals is to plan for the product launch. So again, we're breaking down the historical launch lineups week by week, from the NES to the Switch 1, leading up to our bold and final Switch 2 launch predictions on March 26th. That's the last podcast we're having before the Switch 2. So we have to do it then. And, hopefully by revisiting Nintendo's iconic beginnings, we'll build the hype for the next big thing, the Switch 2, and we'll kind of get an idea of where this is all going to go and how realistic we can be with the Switch 2 launch lineup. Area focus, past, present, and predictions. We're going to revisit the iconic launch lineups with, of course, the glorious box art displays. Analyze what made or broke each launch. Discuss how these historical launches could influence the Switch 2. Make the bold predictions, and then hype up the April 2nd Direct like there's no tomorrow. And what would a Switch 2 be without a quote from legendary Reggie? Gamebird, can you read this for me?
Absolutely. This says, "Hello, my name is Reggie, and I'm about kicking ass." Or actually, yeah, hold on, wait, I need to fix something real quick. I'm going to read this. Just give me 1 second to zoom in so I can do this the right way. Whoops. There we go. "Hi, my name's Reggie, and I'm about kicking ass and taking names. And we're about making games." Was that good? Was that good, guys?
I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Okay. One of a kind. One of a kind.
That's exactly how he said it, by the way.
Absolutely. You get the seal of quality for that.
Thank you.
All right. Here's the launch timeline. And I hope everyone knows who this is in the top left. Chat, I'm talking to you.
It's the younger version of me.
Yeah, it's Captain N. So this is our timeline here. So today we're going to go over the NES, Game Boy, and Game Boy Color. And then you guys can see the rest. Next week is the SNES. Yes, we are going to talk about the Virtual Boy. We're not going to abandon it. The 5th, we got the GameCube and the GBA. The 12th, the Wii and the DS. Then the 19th, the Wii U and the 3DS. Then on the 26th is the Switch 1 launch. And then Switch 2 predictions. Those are our final predictions, all leading up to April 2nd for the Switch 2 Direct. And with that said, I have some classic imagery there for you guys to kind of bring you back and get you in the mood for what we're about to talk about, which is the NES, the Game Boy, and the Game Boy Color. Now, let me ask you guys, what color Game Boy Color did you own?
I had the green, the lime green.
Kiwi, right? Was it Kiwi?
I don't know. I was a child.
Yeah.
I had the see-through.
Yeah, same. The like the atomic purple see-through. I forget what they called it for the
Atomic
Game Boy.
Purple, yeah.
Was the Game Boy one called Atomic Purple still, or was that for?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I had.
It's the best,
I was
yeah.
thrilled too.
My first one was the green, and I now own the green and the purple see-through.
Nice.
Oh, and somebody actually for my 40th birthday made me a custom one that has my logo. Like, so I guess I have 3.
Hell yeah,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
awesome.
Oh, so cool. And the D-pad and the buttons are all the same color buttons as the N64 controller.
Oh, that's
So-
sick.
And the lens has
Beautiful.
Mario on it. Like it's very, very cool. So
I still have
Hell
mine.
yeah, dude.
Now let me ask you, does anyone own the Tommy Hilfiger Game Boy Color? You guys remember that?
I don't remember the
No.
Tommy Hilfiger one.
Yeah, well, I was looking at Game Boy Color variations today. I was like, oh my God, that's too funny. All right. So here we go. Let's talk the NES, okay? And I would like to briefly ask you about each game because we don't have all day to talk about these, but 10-Yard Fight. Did you play it?
No, is that a football game? It looks like a football game.
it's a
Yeah,
football game. Yep.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't play that one.
Nor did I. I remember seeing it. I remember hearing about it, but never played it.
I played it. It sucks. It's always sucked. Like from the beginning.
Mm.
It's very slow. Very slow. All right, how about baseball?
That one sucks too. Like that, I played that on NSO.
I played that.
Hours and hours and hours of baseball.
Yeah, I played a lot of that one.
I will say that I played a lot of it too. I actually liked baseball. It's not my favorite baseball game on the NES. That honor goes to none other than Baseball Stars.
Yes. Yes.
Dude, that game is the shit. It's so good.
That game rocks.
Better than RBI?
Oh yeah, way better.
Wow.
Not even close, Josh.
Hmm.
Baseball Stars is by SNK,
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
and it's also on Neo Geo. And on Neo Geo, it is so good, like totally over the top, huge sprites. Yeah, honestly, it's a very, very good game on the NES. But okay, Clue Clue Land.
I played it.
I have not played Clue Clue Land.
I believe
Nope.
I played it. I think I played it on like
NES Remix.
yeah, exactly. I don't think I played the full game, but I played it on that.
Yeah, this top row is a bust for me. I've only played
Even Duck Hunt?
one of these. No, I've played Duck Hunt.
Okay.
Okay,
But I'm just saying, like the row 2 and 3, I've played the majority of the titles.
yeah, Clue Clue Land. I played. I didn't love it. You guys notice the box art on that is the rupee from Zelda?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they used a lot of assets back then. Like they shared assets from games. I think you can see that in like Metroid and Kid Icarus. There's a lot of
Mhm.
similarities in the assets too. Obviously, we all played Duck Hunt. Probably
Yeah,
have fond
iconic.
memories of that.
Played the
Oh.
hell out of that game, man.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
Came
Did
out
you
on
guys-
Wii U, the year everything got everything
Yeah,
got
it
shut
was-
down by Lizard Squad.
Wasn't that like Christmas Eve?
Christmas Day.
It was Christmas
Mhm.
Day.
Yeah,
Did you guys go right up to the TV to shoot the ducks?
always.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you had to, right? Like that was the winning move back then.
Mhm.
Okay, so of course, Excite Bike. I mean,
Excitebike was phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Great music.
yes.
So many fond memories of that game.
In my opinion,
I just remember the acceleration. Well, I mean, I've played it recently because of the World Championships, but the acceleration noise sticks in my head.
yeah, for me it is because like there's other Excite games that came out after. This is the best one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love this one. The title screen music. Like I can hear it right
Yes,
now.
yes, yeah, and the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Excitebike track.
Oh, I
The
love it.
music is
Best-
insane.
Best track.
And
Yeah,
it
it
has
brings you
like
back.
200 different variations.
Yeah,
so
which
cool.
is amazing, and not enough people talk about that, Josh.
The music's so good though, so good. Like, and being able to create a track, that game I think is in its own line, which is like the creative series or something along those lines, something like that. So
Yeah, it's nuts that you could create your own track on the NES, like on the NES hardware. That's crazy.
did you guys ever do that where you just tried to you could just go like get going as fast as possible and jump as far as possible and never overheat? Like that's what I love doing
All the
when
time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's just like building a ramp and setting it up outside in the street, except you're doing it on the TV.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
Hmm.
How about golf?
Hours and hours.
Yep.
I probably have like 300 hours in that game. Same sound effects as baseball too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Once again, the shared assets. Is this your favorite golf game on the NES, or are you guys NES open?
I like this one more.
This one is my
Yeah,
favorite.
I like golf more as well.
I can remember hitting a hole in one with like and so pretty much the majority of these games, as I talk about them, were all played with my dad. Like we played. He was like, no fighting games. You can play sports games, but boxing was okay. I'm like, I don't understand the rules, but whatever. So yeah, black box, baseball, and golf, and Excitebike. He didn't care as much about duck. Well, I take that back. We did clay pigeons a lot. So, yeah. So, but golf, like, yeah, we played. Anytime I hear that sound effect, I made it when we were doing baseball. That woo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So, and this hole in one sound, and it was like blink, and it was just,
Yep.
it was so good. Like, yeah, just loved it.
It's a really good golf game. It's kind of crazy, but
Well, it has that Easter egg in it, right? Or there was something. Remember during the Switch's lifespan, because Iwata was tied to it, there was like a certain date, and then you could play golf or something. I can't remember the whole story, but
I do remember that. I do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up after now. Okay, Ice Climber.
Trash. This game is trash.
Ouch.
What don't you like about it? The jumping
Climber.
mechanic.
The jumping is horrible.
We can say that about almost every NES.
Yeah, I guess I'm playing these games kind of like
Too late.
a modern lens because I played a lot of them on the World Championships that just came out.
Championships,
Yeah.
And like doing the Ice Climber levels, I'm like, oh, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So I still remember like playing Ice Climber as a kid and knowing that you have to line up your jumps a certain way in order to only break one block of ice and get through it. Like there's a way to do it. But yeah, it's not at all like user friendly. So if anyone's playing that for the first time, I know it can be frustrating, which is why I asked you, is it because of the jump? Because I just knew that was it.
Yeah, jumping's rough.
All right. The next one, I mean, does it need an introduction? Kung Fu. The bad guy was Mr. X.
oh yes,
And well, I'm going to say this off the top of my head. Was your girlfriend's name Sylvia?
ooh,
Someone fact check me.
okay, I'll check.
But oh my God, I love this game. Like, I always wanted to borrow it from my cousin. Huge fan of Kung Fu. Absolutely great game. Did you guys play it?
Absolutely. Kung Fu, I played the crap out of this game. When I was a kid, my first console was an NES, and it was a hand-me-down. And I got the NES with the gold Legend of Zelda cartridge, and that was like my start journey to becoming a gamer. But then I had an uncle who had a bunch of NES games, and he was done playing, so he gave me a bunch. Kung Fu was in that. He gave me like 8 or 9 games. Kung Fu was in there, and it was one of the favorites out of the batch that he gave me.
Lucky.
I never played Kung Fu, even to this day.
Sylvia was the correct name.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. One of guys in the chat, Captain Bacon, said Sonia, I think. And I'm like, shoot, that sounds right. And I thought I was wrong. But now, thank you. I'm glad it, like, my memory. I'm just glad my memory serves me correct still, because that was so long ago that I've thought about that name. Nate, you need to play Kung Fu. What the heck, man?
Yeah.
It's really good.
I've literally never played it. Is it on NSO?
No, unfortunately.
Oh,
It's not?
I mean, I'm just looking at chat right now. It says, why is Kung Fu not on NSO? So,
Oh, dude, that's some horse shit. How is that not on there? There's
promise
no reason.
I will play it if it gets added.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully it does. It's very good.
the thing with most of these games, or not most of them, but the ones that really stand out as special to me is they were also arcade games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kung Fu was one that I played more in the arcade than I did on an NES.
So in the arcade, was it Kung Fu Master?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Were these all day one launch titles?
Yes.
What a lineup.
Yeah, the black box launch titles. And obviously there were more black box games to come after this, like Kid Icarus, Metroid. That's not shown here. But yeah, these were the games on launch day in 1985.
It's pretty wild when you think about it, because this was really what saved console gaming, the idea of console gaming. And to launch with, we haven't gotten to Mario Bros, but to launch with Mario Bros, and then a number of really cool titles like Excite Bike and Kung Fu and Duck Hunt and all the go ahead.
I myself, but I'm looking at this launch lineup right now, and I don't know if anything tops it. This is like a GOAT launch lineup.
I know it is really good.
It's really good.
Yeah, no doubt. Pinball, guys. Have we played it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Nope.
You know where I played it the most?
NSO?
Animal Crossing.
Oh, dude, I loved that about Animal Crossing.
I did play it on Animal Crossing. Yep.
Then they realized they could charge us $5 a pop.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, actually, of the pinball game. It is really fun. Even in the box art right there, where was it Mario's? What would you call that he's holding?
Paddle? Or
the table from Pong?
Yeah, it almost like there's parts of it that are almost like what, Arkanoid?
Scaffolding?
Well, it's
it
reminiscent
does look like
of
scaffolding.
Brick Breaker in Super Mario Party Jamboree, which, yes, Arkanoid or Alleyway is. Yeah.
Which is fun. Like, so it combines that into the pinball game. It's really fun. And correct me if I'm wrong, but can't you spell Nintendo in it? Like, you can collect letters?
I believe so, but it's been a hot minute. So
yeah, which is really cool too. Bubble Bobble had that as well, which is an awesome game. Okay, Stack Up. Have we played Stack Up?
No, that one's a blind spot for me.
Nope.
This is a Rob game.
I never played it. I knew I never got to experience Rob as a kid, unfortunately.
I think
How
I've
about-
seen people play it, but I haven't played it.
See, I'm
So-
slightly younger than you guys, so I never really like played NES. My first system was Super Nintendo, so I only had
Mhm.
played like the big titles.
Right.
So you guys probably didn't play Gyromite, but what about Hogan's Alley?
Oh yeah.
I played Hogan's Alley. Yep. It's a good one.
Hogan's Alley. Let me just tell you, when I first played it, I said, "Why the fuck did I waste all these hours on Duck Hunt? This is way better. This game rocks."
Hogan's Alley is a lot better than Duck Hunt. For whatever reason, I was way worse at Hogan's Alley than Duck Hunt. Obviously, there's more challenge
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
game,
Harder,
but like I don't know why I couldn't aim for crap.
dude, the can game
Yeah.
in there. Oh my god, I wasted so many hours trying to like get all the hits and count all the can hits. Oh my god.
It's a good one though.
It is. I'm kind of a crack shot at the game.
It's awesome.
If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I mean, the next one definitely needs no introduction. Super Mario Brothers.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. And I said Mario Bros either. It was just I misspoke. It's obviously Super
It was a
Mario
year
Bros.
later.
Yeah, oddly enough, the arcade version came out later. Thankfully, it did, because had they reversed that, maybe things wouldn't have ended up so well. Because Super Mario Brothers changed the world.
Dude,
Mhm.
it's so good. I mean, I think Josie Woe just did a retrospective on it, on like how this game just holds up over time. It's just so good.
It really does. Like, I played it on the Nintendo World Championship, and I got the highest rank you can get. I forget. I made a video on it.
That's awesome, man.
But to beat the game in I think I beat the game in 6 or 7 minutes, which is stupid and mind boggling, because it's not an easy game. Like, if you just try and like jump into it and run through it, you're going to die. There's no save points. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's
it's old school tough. So
this
like,
game
you
is
have to memorize everything to a T and know what every enemy is going to do based on where you jump if you want to like get through it at a record time. It's actually really fun to like challenge yourself to do that, but growing up I could never do that. It is a tough game. Damn good though. You guys play tennis?
Real quick about
Mhm.
Super Mario Brothers, I think one of the best things, like the best memories for me, is anytime my mother hears the opening track, right?
Oh.
For that, she has told me multiple times. Every time I hear you play that, or I hear the first level, she goes, it just takes me back to like, when all her kids were little, and
Yep.
she's making dinner, I'm sitting in the living room playing, and
Yeah.
like it's just it's iconic. There's no other way to put it.
Dude, so my mom is the same way. Like 100%. And I'm the youngest. I know you have a lot of siblings, right, Josh?
I'm the oldest of 6.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 3. So you have double, but it was the same thing. Like, my mom has the fondest memories of Nintendo and of the Mario music and the Zelda music. She remembers everything. Like, when I made my video on Yo Noid, she's like, "Oh, I remember you guys playing Yo Noid all the time." And like Maniac Mansion, she'll remember the total niche games, right? That not a lot of people will play. My mom remembers everything about it. I'm like, that's wild. I'm impressed. Yeah, it's cool. Tennis. Did you guys play this?
Nope.
Mhm.
I played it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. For tennis on Nintendo, I prefer Racket Attack. Game's pretty badass. Wild Gunman. This is basically walking through Arizona in the 80s. It's pretty awesome. It's like a documentary on Arizona.
Yeah, I played it. It's hella fun.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You guys remember this in Back to the Future Part 2?
Oh yeah.
Wild Gunman, when they go
Oh.
into the Cafe 80s, and who's playing it? What's his name?
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. Yeah, Elijah Wood's playing Wild Gunman, and Marty goes up and he's like, "Let me teach you kids how to do this. I'm a crack shot at this." And he takes everybody out, and they're like, "You had to use your hands? It's like a baby's toy." He's like, "What?" That was the future, man.
Yeah.
That was what 20. What year was that?
2015, wasn't it?
2015.
2015, yeah. Yeah, the future, man. Wrecking Crew.
Loved it.
It's actually pretty fun. It's pretty addicting.
I didn't own it, but one of my best friends did. And every time I'd like do a sleepover or whatever, like we would play Wrecking Crew and Donkey Kong for hours and hours.
Well, what was cool is like you could beat the game and then you can continue playing. Right? And it gets harder on a lot of these games, and your score will continue to go up. So you had a reason to keep playing after you beat the game too, which I appreciate it. Yeah, great game. So that's the NES. This was the launch lineup. We're gonna jump into the other two, and I gotta say they're a lot smaller, so we'll get through them a lot quicker. But overall, do you guys think this was a good launch lineup?
Yeah, GOAT. I don't even know if there is going to be a
Yeah.
better one for Nintendo.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, it's coming off of like a dying industry where we had no idea video games would go to where they went today. So, I mean, it really really goes to show you what great software can do for hardware.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder why Nintendo thinks software sells hardware.
It is crazy though, like 16 first-party games. That's something we'll obviously never see.
We'll
again.
never see that again. No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a little bit cheating, right? Because the Famicom was out in Japan, and then so by the time it hit over here,
October 1985.
Don't care what the reasons are. Killer lineup.
no, we win. Yeah, like we definitely win.
I will say though, I actually don't know if this is going to be goated, only because like looking at this, I mean, for the time, it's obviously like this is just nuts. And even looking back, it's nuts. But I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these games are sports games. You know, so if you thought about it in today's standards, if you know Switch 2 launches with 5 sports games in its first year, you know,
But these were good sports games.
yes, they were good sports games.
There's a difference.
That is fair. But it's going to be interesting to reflect and look at some of the other. I'm real excited to see what's to come as we do this series.
Yeah, it should be fun. So yeah, don't look ahead because it'll be fun.
I'm definitely not going to look up the launch lineup.
No, I'm not. I'm not looking at. I'm
Yeah.
not looking up anything.
All right. So you guys ready to move on to the Game Boy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. That's the launch lineup.
So
a lot
good.
smaller.
But
amazing.
quality.
Quality,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
One thing I gotta say though is like you gotta give credit for that console box art.
Oh, dude, it's
Dude,
the best. That's the coolest box art ever
It's so good.
that
For-
Nintendo's
so
done.
good for that era too. Like perfect marketing for that era.
yeah,
Oh.
1989, and that looks like the future. If you
Yep.
saw that in '89, like that is cutting edge.
That's what it felt like. It felt like you were playing NES games in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So, Super Mario Land. How do we feel about it?
It was
Great game.
Great
This-
that it was great
Go
that
ahead.
it was Mario on a handheld. I mean, it's definitely not the better of the Super Mario Land games, but to just have it available on the Game Boy right away, huge.
I played it today actually, and it was a very fun nostalgia trip. Just listening to the music,
Yeah.
seeing the sprites. You know, it's funny how it literally followed the same basic art style as the Super Mario Brothers, and then in the second game they figured they could make everything much bigger and, you know, give Mario like a little more of a 3-dimensional look than just the 2-dimensional look.
Yeah.
And so and even the way they've incorporated like the some of the Mario Land stuff into Mario Maker 2, you know, it's just it's a stellar launch title, there's no question.
Yeah, I loved Mario Land. I mean, number 2 I think is maybe my favorite, but
Yeah.
I mean, I put so many damn hours into Mario Land, man. Oh,
Yeah, same here. This one, you know, I'm not going to compare it to Super Mario Land 2, which I personally liked better, but I have incredible memories with the first game, hours and hours, you know, playing on the road, you know, like anytime I was in the car, in the back seat playing this game, and the music, I remember the music of this game so fondly, like probably above everything else that I remember about this game. The music is kind of like ingrained in my memory.
I'm with you on that. Like 100%. The music definitely brings me back every time I play it. I really love the soundtrack for the game. And it's wild because, you know, it's on a Game Boy. They only had so many resources. And again, yeah, just like you guys, I put in so many hours on Super Mario Land. Love this game. Still love it today. I would say that, you know, I probably like the 6 golden coins better, Super Mario Land 2, just because it's got more variety. It's got more power-ups. But but you know, this game is just great. And I gotta say, I still love the box art. Because again, like, you know how it is, guys, going to the store as a kid. You can't go on YouTube and watch a video. There's no internet. Your parents probably aren't going to buy you a video game magazine. They've already spent enough money on the console and the video games. They're not going to start buying you magazines. If you want a subscription to Nintendo Power, you better pay for it yourself. Better go get a job. Better start handing out flyers in the neighborhood.
I was spoiled.
To mow lawns.
My grandma got me the Nintendo Power subscription.
Oh, good for you, man. Like,
my parents couldn't afford anything.
Yeah.
All the games I played were rentals.
Yeah.
But I grew up very poor. But my grandma was like, "You love Nintendo, don't you? This is magazine. We're gonna subscribe." So hey, she kind of figured, look, your parents don't want you playing games all the time, but they can't complain if you're reading
exactly
about games.
Yeah. That's so cool.
That was the trick.
Of course, then we had the Juggernaut. The world changed this day. It really did. Have you guys seen the Tetris documentary that came out like a year or two ago?
The biopic with
and the movie.
Taron Egerton.
It was the movie. It came out on on
Apple TV?
Apple,
yeah.
Dude, personally, I thought that was phenomenal. And I know the
really
story
good.
pretty well, right? I think we all do. And I thought it was pretty accurate too.
Look, this game's an icon.
Yeah.
Period. Never gets old. Billion versions of it today because the entire concept is just brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, look, put it this way. The NES already existed and Mario was already a household name. Tetris is what's remembered from launch, not Mario Land. Tetris is the game that made Game Boy explode. Just insane.
I mean, talk about a picture that you can hear just by looking at it. You know, I look at that box art and I hear the chiptune music of the Tetris theme song.
Such a good song.
Running through my head, and everyone played it. Whether you were a child, a senior citizen, a businessman, everybody played it.
Everyone can play at the beginning. You get deeper and deeper, and let me tell you, holy shit. People today struggle to beat this game. Today. The original, the OG.
The thing I remember most about this game is Christmas 1989. I didn't own a Game Boy until I was in my 20s. So I was 8 when Game Boy came out. And my aunt and uncle purchased, they didn't have kids yet, I don't think. Yeah, 88 or 89. They might have had one, but they just said, okay, for Christmas this year, we're just going to buy each other Game Boys. And so that Christmas night, getting to link cable and play Versus on Tetris and seeing Mario and Luigi on the screen as you're playing against each other, it was a very, very special, like it was so fun. Like, it was just so much fun. I was so jealous I couldn't play it all the time.
Cable, and like, people didn't even realize it at launch about the link cable stuff. Oh my god, when you did it with that game, it literally this is back in the day, guys. Multiplayer like this just wasn't a thing.
Nope.
And
you had to plug your consoles into each other.
Like Mario and Luigi, who aren't in the game normally, are just there.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind is just fucking blown because so many people wouldn't even realize this was a thing. Tetris is just, here's the thing. I know I said like the NES launch lineups goated. I think it is, but this game is more iconic than even the original Mario Brothers. Oh my gosh. I can't say enough about Tetris. Just, and when you know the story behind it and how we're lucky this game even exists at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Very.
The hoops that had to be jumped through for this to be there, and
espionage.
The main guy who fucking the guy basically committed crimes to make this thing happen because he knew the world needed to fucking play this game.
And he got ran out of the country. Like,
yeah,
literally from what I've read, he had to literally make a run for it. Which in the movie, yeah, it's like a car chase scene, which of course is dramatized, but he did have to like literally bolt out of the country. Guys, otherwise, he might have been staying there in a cell.
If this is making you interested at all, just at least go on Apple TV and watch the movie. Yeah, it's not 100% accurate, but it'll give you enough to appreciate. Like, the game's already amazing. You will appreciate this game even more if you understand what went into this game, even existing, and like who a lot of people don't even realize who the original creator was, and everything that went through it, especially with all the tensions with the countries back then. Oh man,
Cold War was still fully intact.
Yeah, it was, but the game made it, and holy shit. It is. I mean, I don't even know how many copies this thing has sold in our lifetime. It's insane.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out. God, insane. Yeah, that's another thing about this launch lineup, guys, is that like you had Mario Land.
The number for 520 million.
Oh my god!
Oh, wow.
Not a single game has sold more than Tetris. It's the highest selling video game of all time.
Better be.
Yeah, insane. So when we say this is like the GOAT of all games, like you can like games better more than this, that's fine. But the impact of Tetris is unmatched.
Yeah, the impact, no doubt. As I say, you guys noticed that, like, so Tetris had Mario and Luigi in it. Tennis, you got Mario here.
Yeah,
Baseball, you got Mario here.
They're leaning a little on Mario. Mario a lot better than
yeah.
NES.
An alleyway, you got Mario here at the control station. It was Mario was in every single launch title in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, yeah, Mario after he blew up on NES. I mean, yeah, you're gonna put him on everything.
So that leads to the next game. Did you guys play Alleyway?
I've actually never heard of this one.
It's like Brick Breaker. Have you ever played Brick Breaker on like BlackBerry? I had a BlackBerry phone and I played Brick Breaker all the time on it. Well, and that's I guess Alleyway, was that the first one that had it, or
Arkanoid, I believe, was probably the first. Well, actually, this goes back. This predates the NES. Brick Breaker for Nintendo goes back to like the TV game 15 or one of those, like, you know, where they were only in Japan.
Yeah.
But then Arkanoid on the NES had its own controller that was just a knob, so you could just turn it left or right to control the paddle.
It's on NSO. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's super fun. And the best way to play it now is on Jamboree. In the Koopathlon mode, there's a Brick Breaker mode, and you can do it from Mini Game Bay. And it's one of the things in my community where everybody's trying to get the high score, like, because it's it's timed. You can only go for like a total of like 3 minutes. It's 60 seconds for each board, and there's 3 boards, so really, really fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's worth playing. Worth checking out today. And then again, baseball and tennis. You can't launch a Nintendo console or handheld without baseball and tennis. Even look at Wii Sports. You gotta have baseball and tennis. They're staples in Nintendo launch lineups. Did you guys play these?
Oh yeah,
they were good.
Yeah, especially baseball.
Aren't they pretty much the same as like the NES versions?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So if you're buying a Game Boy,
these ones for the Game Boy. I had some of the sports games on the NES, so I skipped out when it came to the Game Boy ones.
Yeah, I didn't care about the Game Boy ones until we got to the Game Boy Color with Mario Tennis, and
of course, Camelot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do you guys think of the launch lineup here? How would you rate it?
I think it's strong.
Give it an A because of Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have those launch lineups where you have like that goated game, and it doesn't really matter what else was there because you really only needed the one game. And despite that, we also had a new Mario game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's Nintendo's first true handheld on the market. So I wouldn't have expected this to have as big of a starting library as the NES.
Was this the first?
This is
was this the first gaming handheld that had the cartridges to have multiple games? Because gaming handhelds existed before this, but they were like single game systems.
Tiger Electronics ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first one to have cartridges.
Yeah, so I think it's the first one that had. I mean, there might have been one that had like 2 games on it or something, but because obviously I don't know every single of those individual handheld games back in the day, because I only have the ones that I played. But
yeah, everything else was one game, like the Tiger Electronics or like the Nintendo Game and Watch.
There's this really old school one that was like from the 70s. It was a football game with these little switches you would physically.
I know which one, the vertical one. Yeah,
fuck, it was huge, but
yeah, it was awesome.
It was awesome back when I was a kid.
Yeah, when we were kids, that was so cool.
People I tried to show it to my kids because my grandma had it, because it was my dad's, one of his things when he was a kid, and I showed it to my kids and they're like, "What is this? This sucks." I'm like, "Well, yeah." Look, I'm not gonna. Okay, yeah, this isn't the greatest video game of all time, all right. But like back in the day when you didn't know any better, like this thing was this was the shit.
And the screens on those things would get like the burn-in too. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, burning was
You
horrible.
could like after having it for a few years, you couldn't even see what was on the screen because like
horrible.
everything was burnt in.
Do you guys think that our eyes were possibly damaged at a young age from the screen, like from long-term use, like the squinting, like the strain you put on them at a young age?
Put
I
it
don't
this way,
know.
I
Possibly.
was the first person in my family to have glasses, even before my grandparents. So that's an absolute yes.
Yeah,
I've-
I want to think so.
I don't know about eyes for me, but I think I definitely have some neck damage from playing the demos at stores back in the day.
Oh,
You know, where they put like the
It's a look
CRT
up.
monitor would be like 10
who
feet
thought
up
that was a good idea to put the TV
for like
in
an hour.
Did we all do that where like we'd go to the store with mom or dad, usually mom, and if it's like Target or
Yeah.
like Kmart back in the day,
Yep.
any store that you know, there's a
They drop
kiosk.
me off in the electronics section and they say, "We'll see you when we're done."
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we had asked permission like back in the day. We can't just like leave my mom's side if we're at the store, and we get into trouble a lot with two older brothers. But you know, like we'd have to earn the opportunity to go over to the kiosk, right? And play. And eventually we got it. But that was the first thing you did, right? Is that, hey, mom, I'm gonna go to the electronics section. I want to go check out the games and see if there's any new demos to play. Like every time, like that was sometimes that's why you went and ran errands with your parents, is just so you can go see if there's anything new, if there's any new games on the shelf, because that was the only way to know.
Yep.
We didn't have
I
launch
remember-
dates back then.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that feeling of like feeling defeated when you get to the electronics area and there's like a line of kids playing.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the worst.
Depressed. You're just like
Oh.
super depressed.
You
You
knew
know
you
it's gonna be a while. There's
were
that
gonna
kid
get
who's like terrible and too young.
Yeah,
Who's
and
just
you're like, dude,
standing there.
how
Yeah.
long is this kid gonna be on here? I really hope his mom comes
I
over
was
soon.
there was like 4 kids in front of me, and I'm like, "Fuck, my parents will be done shopping before I even get to touch this thing." I'm
Yeah.
literally gonna get to select a demo, and I'm out.
Exactly. Like my mom
Right.
had a list. She knew exactly where to go. She knew
Yeah.
what was on what aisle. So it's
Yeah.
like, shoot, I
You're
don't have
like,
a
you're
lot
gonna
of
be at
time here, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna be like 15, 20 minutes in this store. Like that's it.
Yeah. They didn't want to spend a lot of time there because they don't
Yeah.
want to spend more money. It was like, we need to be in and out always. That's how I am now too.
Yeah. But you better believe when I got my hands on you know, whatever console it was, the 64 I feel like was the one I played a lot in stores. I took my sweet ass time. I ain't leaving for no one.
Well, I played a ton of
Till
GameCube.
mama comes and says, "Let's go, honey." I ain't living for no one.
Dude, I was going to Best Buy after school to play Rogue Leader.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, like I was literally, we were all blown away. We would go to Best Buy after school and just go hang out at the kiosk until it was time to camp out at that Best Buy for the GameCube. Yeah, good times. All right, so we're gonna move on to the last one. This is a short one. It's Game Boy Color. It's small. It's so small I added in 2 games. I just want to say this, that are launch window games, because this is when we started doing. This is when Nintendo started doing launch windows. So I just want to throw that out there. And that's it.
Oh man.
So,
Hmm.
of course, I mean, look at that. Look at that beautiful hologram right here on the side. So sexy. I love the box art on this. It's just so nice, man. Reminds you of you know, did you guys collect basketball, baseball cards, football
Back
cards?
then, yeah, back then, yeah.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
pulled a hologram card and you can, you know, hold it to the light, and
Mhm.
it was the best. This is the best
You
feeling.
admire it. You turn
Yeah.
into to Smeagol, basically.
Yeah.
You keep you feel the card calling you for the weeks and months to come. You keep busting it
Horrible
out and
fun
just staring
game.
at it and touching it. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, that takes me back. Just reading the portable fun in color.
I
Dude,
know.
I stared at this box so long when I got it.
Same. Yep. Yep. Good memories, man. So Game & Watch Gallery 2.
Yeah, didn't play that one.
Didn't play it.
Great box art.
Yeah, I love the box. It was great. I don't even remember seeing this at the store.
I believe I own it.
Nice. There
The
was a few of them, right? I think they made a part
Yes.
3, maybe
Yeah,
a 4.
I'd have to look and see exactly which one, but I do have 1 or 2 of them.
So I'll bounce around. We had Game & Watch, and I will go with the launch titles first. Then we had Pocket Bomberman. Bomberman's been like a mainstay on Nintendo for obviously decades.
Yeah, played that one.
Even there was a Bomberman launch title for the Switch. Or launch window, at least.
Yeah. Fun
That's
game.
one I never played. I never played that one.
Yeah, I love Bomberman on Super Nintendo with the multi-tap. Because when you rent Bomberman from the store, like when we'd rent it from Gamers, which is where we'd rent games from, it came with the multi-tap. Like you didn't have to pay extra to rent the multi-tap if you rent it Bomberman. So that was a great way to play 4 players back in the day. Centipede.
Mm.
That was a launch title.
Yep, I played it on there. It's kind of wild, but I mean, I wanted it just because I played it in arcade already. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. It's in my collection.
Yeah. It's a good one. Tetris DX.
I skipped DX. I played so much Tetris on the OG Game Boy that I was happy with the Tetris I had. Like I just never was needed.
Kind of in
this
the
one,
same thing. Like I remember seeing this at the store, and I'm like, "Oh, it's cool," but then it says, "Oh, original Tetris now in color." Dude, I don't need it in color, man. I can just pop it in my Game Boy Color right now. The OG, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't buy this either. I didn't feel there was a need for it. And again, you're operating on very limited funds at this age.
Well, yeah.
I was
and like for my birthday, I'm not asking for a game that I technically already own, just not in color.
I picked it up, and I believe when I finally bought my Game Boy Color, which was my first Game Boy, I'm fairly certain I picked up Tetris DX and Mario Golf. Those were my first.
Yeah,
my first 2.
Well, Mario Golf's amazing game. Camelot killed it.
Yeah, very RPG.
So the 2 games that were launch window games, of course, were Zelda. Zelda came out first, and then it was Mario Deluxe. Those came out within the first 6 months of the Game Boy Color. So
this looks like the OG Switch launch year right here that we're looking at. We got the Mario, we got the Zelda, we got the Bomberman. We didn't have Tetris at launch, but we had Snipper Clips, which was like your puzzler.
Right?
The Snipper Clips is good, man.
So good.
Snipper Clips is really good,
especially like if you are like a couple, you and your girlfriend or wife, like, oh, dude, Snipper Clips is a blast.
I think this is something we're going to probably notice, like as the weeks go on, is trends with the launch lineups. Like you just said, it looks like the Switch launch lineup. I think we're going to probably notice more as we go on, so that should be pretty fun. But Zelda, Link's Awakening DX, like I already love Link's Awakening, right? And to get it in color, and then the idea that there's another dungeon now.
Yeah, this was the color dungeon. That was cool.
Yeah,
this was the version of Link's Awakening I owned, not the first one I played. I mean, the story goes back to when I was a bully on a bus and stole someone's Game Boy.
Yeah,
and had
remember
Link's Awakening in it. And I took it home and I played it, and then I gave the Game Boy back the next day because I didn't want to get in too much trouble because I knew my mom was about to get a phone call from that person's mom. But I fell in love with Zelda then, and I kept asking for Link's Awakening, and my mom found out that what I did, you're not getting Link's Awakening. You're never getting Link's Awakening. I'm like, fuck. and then good old grandma, when I got the Game Boy Color, she's like, didn't you like Link's Awakening? There's this Game Boy Color version. I'm like, yes, that's what I want.
She read about it in your issue of Nintendo Power.
For me, and so I didn't even get the beat Link's Awakening until I got this one version. So like, the DX version's great.
Yeah, this game was one of my favorite games for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And it was in my top 5 favorite Zeldas for a very long time. Until the Switch, it was in my top 5. No joke. It's a special game, and I really appreciated how weird the game is, and like the weird quirky characters that they incorporated, having like Mario and the Chain Chomp and all that cool stuff that we didn't see again in Zelda till Majora's Mask, where the series got kind of weird again. But yeah, absolutely adore this game.
Great soundtrack.
Oh my gosh, yes.
One of those games I can hear it just looking at the box.
Oh, dude, I have the Ballad of the Windfish playing in my mind right now.
So good. It's so good.
Oh man, I couldn't believe that music was coming out of a Game Boy.
I always hear the town theme.
Oh, the town theme. Yep.
So good. Yeah, I mean, it was literally The Legend of Zelda in portable format. 100%. Like there was no shortcuts there. It was the full on Zelda experience, which was impressive. And then we got, now again, this was later. It was a launch window game, barely, but Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, which was actually really cool. And again, I gotta say the box art was pretty fire. Got you pretty hyped. And hey, let's not forget, wasn't this a transparent cartridge too?
It was.
I was, yeah.
Which made it cooler, of course, because if it's transparent, it's cooler.
Transparent cartridges were kick ass. It was just like, the colored cartridges for the Pokemon games. Like, nah, this is just special.
Yep.
Well, Zelda and Tetris are both black plastic.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yep.
Color cartridges were the best. Like, part of me is a little jealous of the Famicom because they're all colored cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. I wish we had that.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Pretty much just straight gray with an occasional oddball.
I love the Famicom little floppies too.
Yeah.
Man,
So
those
cool.
things are so cool.
Yep. The only game I ever played with true floppy disks like that, besides at school, we had like these old school Apple Macs that had like the actual floppy ones that you could like bend in half.
Yeah. So that's what we had. We had the first Apple Macs.
Yeah, like the number munchers and
Yeah.
Oregon Trail was on one of those.
Yeah, number munchers, word munchers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great time.
But the first one I played with had the ones that were similar to what the Famicom had. That was Return to Zork. I had like 16 of those things to get through that game.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge game. I love Return to Zork, by the way. It's a very difficult game.
We had a guy that lived across the street. His name was Robert. And he had a Commodore 64. That was my first experience ever with a computer. And I didn't get to play it, obviously, because I was the youngest. And
Yeah.
I was lucky to even be in their presence, as they would say. Lucky to even be invited to come over.
Sounds like what I would say to my sister when we're all outside playing cops and robbers with all the Nerf guns. And I'm like, you're lucky you even get to witness what's happening right now.
So we'd go over to his house and play Ninja Turtles, but like real life, not like the game.
Yeah. Of course.
His dad had like a wood shop, like a wood shed, and he would make weapons, like wooden swords that were like heavy duty, and we'd beat the crap out of each other. So yeah, I wasn't allowed to come over because they were afraid that if I knew about like their backyard fight club, that I would tell my mom, which I never did. I was all about it.
My dad straight up knew we were making weapons like that. He didn't care. He's like, dude, I did that shit all the time. What are you talking about? Have fun. Just make sure you don't grab the 2x4 to wrap, please. Don't do something you can kill someone with. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we beat the crap out of each other, like big time growing up. It was fun.
Guys, you got to imagine what people would think today if they came over and they saw kids in the yard just beating the fuck out of each other. Like,
Yeah.
people would be freaking out and calling the cops. Back then, it's like, whatever. Oh, I got a giant bruise on my leg. Yeah, see the other guy.
Yeah, it was bad. Like, I can't tell you how many times heads were cracked open,
Oh,
and we had to go, emergency room to get stitches immediately. But like, no one freaked out because it's like
Yeah,
you
I'd be
knew
back
exactly
up
what
the
to do.
I'm back out the next day doing it again. Like, whatever.
Yeah, that and like put on boxing gloves and just fight in the driveway.
We would use snow gloves because we didn't have boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Yep. We did snow gloves. Yep.
It was a great time, like if today you saw someone doing that in the driveway.
So there was this one game that we did. Me, my neighbors, Eric, and some others got together in the neighborhood because we wanted to play baseball. But like the problem was they wouldn't let us actually use a real baseball because we'll break windows. Right?
Yeah.
We're gonna hit the ball too far and break windows in the neighborhood. And so they're like, so we. So we're smart, right? We're like, well, okay, we don't have any wiffle balls. So what are we gonna use? You know what? We're gonna make our own ball that we can't actually hit far enough to get to a house. We put rocks in a pop can and then crushed it, and that was our ball. Dangerous
awesome.
that was. But we had shrapnel just flying on every hit. But dude, we were catching that shit barehanded and whipping it at first base.
Dude, that's so much fun.
Yeah, you go back inside. Why are your hands bleeding so much? Everyone's hands are bleeding, Mom. What's the problem?
Those were the good old days.
Oh man,
Those days that'll never happen again.
oh,
The only way
no.
that happens again is if we go back to like the old way of living and like all the power goes out. The only way it happens, I think, is in a grid down scenario. And I don't even want to talk about that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only way I could ever see that kind of thing happening again.
Well, I kept thinking, like, what led to that? Because I'm like, I have kids. Like, would I let my kids? No, I wouldn't let my kids do half the fucking shit I did. But here's the thing: like, if they want to play baseball in the backyard, I'll just give them a wiffle ball. I kept remembering, like, what led to us being so ghetto with all this shit. And I'm like, I was poor, man. That's what it
money.
was. Everyone in the neighborhood was fucking poor. We didn't have anything. Like, we had to make do with shit we could find on the ground. Like, this is what we did.
I think it's a combo of that, but I also think from our generation, imaginations were, we had more opportunities to use our imagination for better, for worse.
Yep.
We other than sitting in front of the old CRT TV, we weren't really screen kids. We didn't have the iPods and iPads and iPhones and all that stuff for constant stimulation. So we had our brains to come up with weird shit to entertain us.
Plus on TV, the only time I wanted to watch was Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For sure. Good times.
anyways,
Well, that wraps up week 1 of the Nintendo launch retrospective. So it's only going to get better from here.
yeah, and it won't always be the last topic. Might be one of the first ones next time.
Yeah.
Damn. That was awesome, Stash. I love this segment. It's just going to keep getting better and better.
Thanks. I had a good
Dude.
time, man. It was
I
memory.
Eric's going to be so mad because he's now. By the way, you notice the clips have been consistent. I don't know if you've noticed the last few days.
I did. I saw
I've
the views. I was
certainly
like, good
noticed.
Lord.
Eric is now in charge of it. He took charge.
Oh,
He's cutting all the
nice.
clips. So when you guys out there, Eric's not talking much. Why does he contribute to the mother effer? He's basically running the clips channel right now. He's crushing it. Like he's even coming up with the titles and everything. I'm just doing the thumbnails and sending it live. So pretty awesome. Thank you, Eric, by the way, when you do this clip. I really do appreciate it. He's gonna be so mad he missed the NES and Game Boy stuff because this is like, it's not his favorite era, but he's got a lot of memory. He played some games I didn't, and